What is up, you guys? It is Jay the Great here once again with another video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, obviously because of, the times that we're living in currently in this quarantine culture. But this is a pre-fight analysis of one of the main events of UFC 249. Thank the heavens, man. Honestly, that we get something. There might not be no fans, but I really don't give a damn, So I haven't been able to do a pre-fight analysis of nothing because there's been nothing going on lately. So this is Dominick Cruz versus Henry Cejudo. There's a lot of good other fights, but I'll be here all day if I break all of them down. There's a lot of good fights on this card. Highly recommend it, to watch this fight. So Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz for the bantamweight, title. Henry Cejudo obviously is the champion as of now, currently. Dominick Cruz is returning from a almost 4-year hiatus. He lost to Cody Garbrandt. That's where he lost his title. He got dominated by Cody Garbrandt, who has kind of fallen off and kind of forgotten at this point. So here we are, May 9th, Florida. I believe it's in Miami to be specific. Hey man, I just want some fights. But let's get straight into the meat and potatoes here. So we have let's break down the guy that's facing the champion. So Dominick Cruz, the contender, or the opponent of the champion, Dominick Cruz. In my opinion, the greatest bantamweight of all time. If you look at the body of work, bantamweight wise, he's the best of all time in my opinion, in my book. He is, in my opinion, more well-rounded than Henry. Has more experience in the championship rounds than Henry. And this is one thing he has an advantage, because obviously he was injured. That's why he didn't fight for all this time. He's come back from injury and has won, I guess, world-class opposition on several occasions. So that's an advantage that Dominick has in his favor. He's used to, returning from injury. He knows what it takes. He knows what he has to do. And I'm sure he's done it to the best of his ability. So that's an advantage for Dominick. This is one thing that's not an advantage. He's coming, I believe, this is the first time, correct me if I'm mistaken, that he's returning after a loss. He lost in dominating fashion. I don't think he's ever lost like that to anybody, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe in his early days, in fights I never saw. He's like only 22-2, I believe, something like that. But he got dominated by Cody Garbrandt. So that's something we're gonna have to see. Does he have that mojo? Will he come in doubting himself? I highly doubt it, but that's a possibility that we have to be aware of and take into consideration here. So Dominick Cruz, as far as his stand-up, I believe is definitely better than Henry Cejudo's. His footwork is some of the most awkward, unorthodox footwork in UFC history, and it's worked to his favor. Obviously he was undefeated for a long time. Not undefeated, but went without losing. He had a loss like earlier in his day, but I believe it was to Uriah Faber, if I'm not mistaken. Uriah Faber beat him. Their trilogy fight, he won one out of 3 against Dominick. So whatever he's been doing all these years has worked. Henry, well, I'm not gonna break him down just yet. Let's get this off the table. All of this other stuff on Dominick. He's taller than Henry. Also, I believe he's gonna have a longer reach. I believe so. As far as wrestling, I think he's good enough, in my opinion. This is what's gonna matter a lot. As far as wrestling, I think he's good enough to stay away from Henry's takedowns. He can stay away with his footwork, and I believe his takedown defense it will be sufficient to neutralize most of Henry's attempts. That's just my opinion. He's, so his footwork, his experience, and his, ability to come back from which we've seen in the past is all in his favor. So that's all the things that are going to be key in this matchup here. So now let's break down Henry Cejudo. Gold Olympic medalist, has all the momentum on his side. There's one thing we got to make clear. All the momentum, all of it, is on Henry's side. Dominick has no momentum. He's hurt. He lost. It's been 3 years. He hasn't been in octagon in 3 years. There's no momentum on his side. So Henry's going to come in hot, mentality, confidence on an all-time high. You know, he just beat TJ Dillashaw, knocked him out in the first round, who was on EPO, who's still suspended. He beat Marlon Moraes, just outwilled him and beat him to the punch. He actually got outclassed in the first round by Marlon. But then he came in, outwilled him, and beat him. He beat the man, you know. So that's something that's going to boost your confidence to another level. You know, he's all-time high confidence. He's not going to be scared to take risks, at least at first, especially the first round. He might come in guns blazing like he did against TJ Dillashaw. Who knows? Who knows what he'll do? So I believe he's a better all-around wrestler. I mean, he's a gold Olympic medalist. Enough said, right? Better wrestler. He's short. You know, that's kind of there's certain advantage to being a shorter opponent. You know, you have a better center of gravity. You know, I don't know. There's just more to it. I didn't really look it up. I should have looked it up. You know, the science behind it. But he has a better center of gravity. You know, it's gonna be easier for him to get takedowns, I believe, than Dominick. He doesn't have to go as low for the takedown. So he's gonna have less area to cover when going in for a takedown. He has less. He doesn't have to go down as much. He just kind of has to, you know, it's gonna be quicker for him than it would be for Dominick to attempt a takedown. As far as power, I don't know. As far as what I've seen, and with Dominick not really getting knockouts, it might be possible that Henry has more power than Dominick right now, especially after all his injuries and his age. You know, getting up there in age, he might be more powerful as far as striking. It might even be stronger than Dominick. He just grappling, just pure and grappling as well. So I believe that's going to be an advantage for Henry Cejudo, in my opinion. He'll be the stronger fighter, more confident fighter. I mean, that just has to be the case, right? Like I said, beat 2 world-class opponents, double champ, and Dominick's coming in from 3 years of rehabilitation and coming off a loss, a really bad loss, I might add. So those are the things in Henry's favor. Now, as far as predictions here, I believe Dominick's going to come out like he always does, you know, careful. He's going to come in, you know, cautiously against Henry. He knows Henry he has a quick trigger, and he might try to take him out right away. I'm sure that's in his mind. I'm sure that his team has talked about all these things. You know, if we're getting down to, you know, to the nitty gritty, he's going to use his footwork. He might try to outpoint the man, use his reach and his height to his advantages. You know, just stay on the outside, break him down with I believe he's going to have superior striking to Henry's. So he's going to break him down, you know, outbox him, out-kickbox him, and just outpoint him. I think that's going to be his game plan coming in. And Henry is just going to have to close the distance if he wants to win. Close the distance, quick trigger, you know, feints, a lot of feints, a lot of head feints, a lot of shoulder feints, a lot of hip feints to try to get in and get the takedown. But on the ground, Dominick is dangerous as well. You know, his submission game is, I believe I haven't really looked into his history, but I'm guessing just from the years and years of experience that it's high level. So Henry's going to have to be careful down there as well. But I believe, you know, on the ground, I just think it's Henry's world. You know, I'm sure he knows all the angles, all the kinds of, you know, takedowns, all the kinds of reverses that are imaginable because he's such a high-level wrestler. So prediction-wise, I don't know. To me, it really depends how Dominick comes in, how he comes in that night. If he doesn't come in his best, at least like 95% of what he was, I think he loses to Henry Cejudo. I think Henry outwills him and beats him to the punch, gets him down, maybe even knocks him out. Maybe just beats him to the punch. This something Dominick doesn't see or just can't evade on time or block on time and he gets knocked out. So this is my prediction. Henry either finishes him by most likely knockout. It could be submission as well, but most likely knockout. So or Dominick comes in good, you know, sharp as a knife, and outpoints him, you know, just by his footwork, his length, his height advantage, just outstrikes him and stays on the outside, you know, rolls towards Henry's weak side and just takes, you know, rolls out, jab, cross, throws hooks every, you know, those long, weird, awkward hooks that he throws those once in a while. And that's my prediction. That's honestly, I think Dominick at his best beats Henry. That's what I think. I think he's the best of all time. I think at his best, he beats Henry Cejudo. he will not be. Here's the thing about Dominick Cruz that people that, unless you're a real Dominick Cruz fan, you don't understand. His will, he doesn't give up. Doesn't give up. He's not a Marlon Moraes. He's not going to just stop when he sees that the other guy's doing good all of a sudden. He will never stop. Till the bell rings. Even against Cody Garbrandt, he gave it his all. He got dropped several times. He kept getting up. He will not give up. That's the thing that Henry's going to have to understand. I believe this guy matches his will. Dominick he's a very strong-willed person, very strong-willed fighter, and I believe that that's going to be significant. I think Henry's going to say, man, I can't take this guy out. Just does not give up. And believe Dominick, I trust in him enough, his discipline and his work ethic, that his cardio will be just fine. He's been in 5 rounds many, many times. He's held up just fine. Besides injuries, of course, but I mean, in the fight itself, in the fights themselves, his cardio is fine. He'll do just fine in that department. He might even make Henry tired, just with his activity, his constant volume. He might even try to make takedowns himself. Who knows? Who knows? Dominick's a smart man, I don't know. I just think Dominick just has what it takes. At his best, of course. If he's not, I think Henry gets it done. Henry gets it done with his just the genetic gifts that he has. I think he just gets it done. It'll just be faster, fresher, younger, stronger, and just take out the older men. It really depends to me, like I said, on how Dominick comes in. In all honesty, I think he'll come in just fine. At least 90%, 95% of what he was. I think that's enough. Dominick is a smart fighter, kind of like Demetrius Johnson. He takes more damage than Demetrius did back in his day in featherweight. Not featherweight, but was that not featherweight? Is it featherweight? No, that's 145. Excuse me, I should know this. Flyweight, excuse me. Got mixed up there. Demetrius stays in flyweight. He just outpoint you and just out-technique you, out-skill you. He's usually that. Both of those guys are just world-class, some of the best of all time martial artists. Mixed martial artists, So yeah, that's my pre-fight analysis. I'm almost more excited for this one than the main event, just because I love Dominick, one of my favorite fighters of all time, and we're going to see what happens. Like I said, there's many more fights on this, but I can't break them all down, be here all day. If you really want me to, if enough of you tell me, I'll try to break down more if you enjoyed this one. There's Francis Ngannou, Rozenstruik, there's Jeremy Stevens, Kadar, there's Greg Hardy, even if that one, I know that one, he's not like, there's not much on him yet, and he's not exactly, Cain Velasquez or something like that, but, if there's enough of you, I'll break down one of those, if enough of you want it, I'll do it for you, Right now, let's just say there's a lot of fights, even the prelim, there's one with Cowboy on it, man, one with Cowboy on it fighting someone else. There's a bunch of amazing fights. I think Dana wants to spoil us after all this time that he couldn't put on fights. Thank you, Dana White. But yeah, man, I think it's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed my pre-fight analysis. If there's something I missed, something you disagree with, something you agree with, something you want me to do next on another video, let me know, man, in the comments, social media, anywhere, anytime, any place. I usually answer 99.99% of the time because I love all y'all. So I think this is going to wrap it up, man. Hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe if you're new. Tell your friends if they're combat sports fans, because we're the most versatile, most knowledgeable sport content channel on the tube. I'll catch you in the next one, y'all. Peace.